Member for Christchurch East, Port Williams.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. Firstly, Sir, I just want to make some general comments about the Rates Validation Bill and look to some of the substance of it. And then finally, I want to make some comments with regards to what the member across the other side of the House has just said. I think by the end of this particular session, we will be intimately aware of each individual part of this bill. It is a small bill, it's a fix-up bill. There's no denying that. It's been well traversed that the Council needs for this bill to pass in order to correct an issue that developed out of some work about 10 years ago. But when you look at the bill, Sir, the preamble is longer than the bill. It's interesting. There are a couple of sections, two parts, to fix up the issue around the fact that we need to ensure that we can validate the payment dates for the rates and we can validate the penalties on those unpaid rates. We can look at the setting of the rates, that the revenue can actually lawfully be received by Council, and that they can recover the penalties on any outstanding rates. That's in part one of this bill. Section 4 looks specifically at the rates for the Church Bay sewer loan and the Church Bay water loan, and also the Governor's Bay sewer and water loan. There are definitions around rates invoices, the specific components within the rates, for example, the fire water connection rates and waste minimisation. But they are for the specific periods as mentioned previously, the 24-5 years and latterly the 2012-13 years. If we don't fix this, if we don't pass this legislation, it means that the Christchurch City Council will continue to be in breach of Section 24 of the Local Government Rating Act 2002. The Select Committee, thank you very much for the Select Committee going to Christchurch to hear the submissions on this bill and on the previous bill concerning the Arts Centre. There was one submitter, obviously it was the Council, and the bill came back to the House largely unchanged. The previous speaker, Mr Speaker, talked about how relaxed the officials were in their submission, how the lack of contrition that the council officials demonstrated, and in fact that the council officials were the disregard they held to their roles and their jobs by allowing this error to occur in the first place. And so I have to defend the officials of Christchurch City Council. It is a difficult job, but it is also rather ironic that that member chose to place upon the officials that responsibility when in this House every year we are presenting legislation that fixes up mistakes that we have made in the past. Everyone makes mistakes. This is a bill that actually fixes up an error that nobody. And I do think it's ironic that in the privilege of this House we can condemn the officials from Christchurch City Council, but we don't take responsibility for errors that we make in the drafting of legislation that we pass. So I want Mr Simpson to just recognise that these are hard-working people, and we are currently experiencing in our council in Christchurch City an extraordinary amount of work, and they are currently engaged in the long-term plan process. There is a lot of stuff going on in Christchurch, and I, for one, am supporting the fact that our officials work very hard and they cannot be here to defend themselves today. This is about the relationship between council and central government, and I have to say that I'm not entirely sure that the relationship that this government has with the Christchurch City Council has been all that helpful or has been all that robust in recent time. So again, I say I do defend the officials of Christchurch City Council. They are doing their job. They have admitted they have found a mistake, and it is our job now to correct that mistake, and we should do so with good heart and good intent. I don't think there is much more that I can say on that, on the bill, Mr. Speaker. Oh, is there? Okay. Well, then I shall say a little bit more, because in terms of I have been given the instructions. I want to just comment on that relationship between central government and the Christchurch City Council, because it is very important that we do what we can to ensure that relationship is strong. There have been issues, and I speak from my own electorate, there have been issues between what the expectations are of ratepayers and what the expectations are of taxpayers, and where the relationship between council and central government hasn't entirely been that consistent or coherent. And I want to talk about the...
When a minister talks like that about officials, that's disgraceful.
When I want to talk about the infrastructure that that we are still waiting for in Christchurch East.
Defend the councillors.
That's right, that's right. Thank you, Mr. Nash. We should all be defending councillors. It is a tough job. We are currently looking at ensuring that the infrastructure, particularly the horizontal infrastructure in Christchurch East, is remediated to a point where we can actually have smooth roads like other parts of our city. But I have to say that in that regard, I don't know that the government has actually come to the party for our ratepayers in Christchurch East. There is a partnership that needs to be forged and continue to be robust. However, I'm concerned that that isn't the case, that we are still subject to some very damaged roads, some very dusty outlooks, some still replacing the sewer and the rest of the lines in Christchurch East, when much of the rest of the city is back to normal, 100%. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to conclude now. I think I have pretty much said what I need to say on the matter, and we do support this bill and commend it to the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.